You've probably got one on your desk, in your lap, maybe even in your pocket right now. We use computers every single day. But if you ever stop to wonder what's really going on inside that box? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break it all down into just 4 simple ideas that honestly are super easy to understand.
I mean, really, think about it. How does a simple click of a mouse or a tap on a screen translate into, well, everything we do? The secret is to stop thinking of the computer as just a machine and start thinking of it more like a brain. And I really mean that. No super complex jargon here. We're going to explain all this by comparing it to something you're already an expert on, your own brain. So, let's start with the absolute basics.
If you strip away all the fancy apps and software, a computer really only does 4 things over and over again. It takes information in, which we call input. It thinks about that information. That's processing. It shows us the results of that thinking. That's the output. And if we wanted to, it remembers everything for later. That's storage. That is the entire loop right there.
Let's make this brain analogy really stick. Okay, for us humans, seeing a banana is input. Our brain processes that and recognizes, hey, that's food. The decision to actually eat it, that's the output. And remembering that, yeah, you like bananas, that's storage. Now look at the computer. You click on a file, that's input. The computer's brain, the CPU, processes that command to open it. The file popping up on your screen, that's your output. And the fact that the file is saved and ready for you tomorrow, that's storage. See? It's the exact same 4-step dance.
So let's dive into that first step, shall we? Input. This is where the whole conversation with your computer gets started.
You know, a computer is pretty much just sitting there, waiting for instructions. It won't do a single thing until we give it something to work with. Input is how we kick things off and tell the computer exactly what we want from it. And we give it input all the time, probably without even thinking about it. When you type on a keyboard, you're inputting words. When you click that mouse, you're inputting a command. Tapping on a touchscreen uses your finger for input, and a microphone uses your voice. Every single one of those actions is just you talking to the computer.
So, once we've given the computer our instructions, it has to actually do something with them, right? And that brings us to the second function, processing. This is the thinking part of the whole operation.
This is where the central processing unit, or CPU, jumps in. Seriously, just think of the CPU as the computer's engine. It takes your input, that click, that command, and it follows the instructions. It's doing all the heavy lifting, all the calculations, solving the problem you gave it, all in the blink of an eye. It's kind of wild.
Okay, so you've talked to the computer, and the computer has thought about what you said. Now what? Well, now it's time for the computer to talk back. Welcome to the world of output.
Output is really just the computer showing us the results of its hard work. It's the answer to our question. And without it, all that processing would be totally pointless, right? We'd never see or hear what the computer actually figured out. This is the moment it communicates back to us.
And output comes in all sorts of forms. Your monitor gives you visual output, everything from text to videos. Speakers give us audio output, like music or sound effects. Even a printer is an output device. It turns digital info into a physical page you can hold. They're all just different ways for the computer to present its results.
And finally, we've arrived at the fourth and final function, storage. Because after all this work, we usually want to save the results for later. That's where the computer's memory comes in.
Think of storage as the computer's long-term memory. It's what lets you save a document, turn the computer completely off, and trust that your file will still be there tomorrow or next week or even next year. Unlike the processor's temporary thinking space, storage is designed to be permanent.
So where are all your files actually kept? Well, they could be on a classic hard drive or a much faster solid-state drive, also known as an SSD. Or, more and more these days, they're in the cloud, which is really just a fancy way of saying you're saving your files on some other company's super powerful computer somewhere else in the world.
Okay, let's put this all together with something you probably do dozens of times a day, searching the web. You type in a search term, that's input. The computer processes that request, searching through billions of web pages. That's processing. The list of results that pops up on your screen, that's the output. And when you find a great article and you save it or bookmark it, that's storage. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. That simple cycle happens every single time you use your computer.
So keep that brain analogy in your back pocket. The next time your computer freezes or slows down to a crawl, it's often because its brain is just trying to process way too many things at once. It's not broken, it's just overwhelmed.
which, when you think about it, is a very human problem to have.
And that pretty much wraps it up. So, here's a little thought to leave you with. As you go about your day, just start noticing the devices you're using. Which ones are for input, where you're talking to the computer, and which ones are for output, where the computer's talking back to you. Once you start seeing that simple cycle everywhere, you've totally grasped the fundamentals of how every single computer works. Thanks for tuning in,